kickve pitiye jayda jalade rase Champions League ek hath gas mein hanguman kickve java naramenne Bhagi dulanne bhidi dasate goal ek gannai sit sarasenne samarok venne saddeta denne We are one game one heart One game one heart Champions League this is where we start together we dream together we fight we are the champions The call is clear, the Champions League is finally One game, one heart, Champions League, this is where we start Together we dream, together we fight, we are the champions Under the light We play for love, pride and fame For every child who dreams again No borders here, no fear, no end Just one dream that we defend Marangal kikkagome Kalathil urudiyai minnavum naame Champions League varave unarvadukku tarume Cheer ekai kammak denne Kollo set ekama ek wenne Goal ekata kick එක දෙන්නේ Champions League में අරමෙන්නේ One game, one heart Champions League සටනයි අරමෙන්නේ පිපි දෙන්නේ ජය ගන්නේ එක සිහිනට අපි යන්නේ One game, one heart Champions League where dreams take part Raise your flags, feel the art Football, one game, one heart Champions League, forever we play the spirit of football. Leads away.
Monday night football here in Colombo as the racecourse lights lit up. St. Mary's Sports Club take on Moragasmulla in the final game of week number 5 of this Sri Lanka Football Champions League. Brilliant weather conditions here at the racecourse. It's quite hot and humid conditions, even though both set of players will hope that the weather stays on intact here at the racecourse grounds in Colombo. Temperature of 25 degrees will surely take a toll on both set of players, but they'll hope that all things will stay away, as you can watch all live action on the Sri Lanka Football Facebook page and the Sri Lanka Football YouTube page only in Sri Lanka, and local terrestrial rights with the Supreme TV, and worldwide you can watch it on ThePapare.com. Sri Lanka Football Champions League, we're bringing action quite thick and fast as we approach the final game of this week number 5. And as you take a look at the points table, it's Pelicans Sports Club sitting right at the top after they beat Sri Lanka Police this week. And Sri Lanka Police, after winning 2 back-to-back games, they have suffered 2 back-to-back defeats, which have really put a massive setback for the Cops here at the Sri Lanka Football Champions League. As the two teams step out for a Monday night clash here in Colombo, I welcome Atif Siddiq to the Combox.
A very good evening, Rashwan. A mid-table clash here. Underlights in Group B. Third place St. Mary's taking on the fourth place Moragasmulla SC. An all-important clash. Both teams fighting for that all-important 3 points. And evenly matched contest here. Moragasmulla United coming after a comprehensive victory against Sri Lanka Police, and St. Mary's beating Matara City in the previous week. St. Mary's still only have played 2 games, won 1 game and drawn, still unbeaten, the team from Jaffna. On the other hand, Moragasmulla United played 3 games, won 1, lost 1 and drawn 1. And they have ticked all the columns in the points table as the teams are lining up for one final photographs. Here are the match officials for today's game. Taranga Pushpakumara, and he'll be assisted by Indunil Sandakalum and RAI Ratnayaka. MUS Kumar will be the 4th official for this game.
Indeed, a massive mid-table clash, as Atif mentioned. Moragasmulla will be coming into this game with spirits quite high after beating Sri Lanka Police to give their first win in the campaign. So plenty to play for both sides, as we are now moments away from kickoff here in Colombo. Captains from both sides. From Moragasmulla, Mohammad Shifan in that number 4 jersey, and for St. Mary's in that number 8 jersey, M. Nitharsan will don the captain's armband, as the 2 captains will pose with the match officials ahead of this all-important mid-table clash. It will be St. Mary's who will be attacking from left to right on your screens. And Atif, just take us through the lineups.
Yes, we have the Moragasmulla starting lineup. Ayanta Shavind between the sticks. Mohammad Shifan, the skipper. Mohammad Katim, the goal scorer from the previous week. Hatim Mahabad, Hansa Kalhar, Tisara De Silva, Shamal Shamod, Dilan Madhushanka, Nimala Dhananjay, Iresh Utpala, Tanushka Madhushanka will be the starting lineup for Moragasmulla, and they will be coached by the experienced Naina Mohammed. And Shavind has had a good start to the campaign between the sticks for Moragasmulla, and he'll be hoping to continue his good form with the gloves in hand. And here's the lineup for the boys from Jaffna. M. Nitarshan, the skipper. J. Jerinson. M. Marison, the goal scorer from the previous game. Danju Magumbari. P. Abhinesh. Jesunation Meron. S. Madhivadanan. A. Arnikan, the goalkeeper. Ruben Raj. John Lavani, also a goal scorer for St. Mary's. And Metaboror will be the starting lineup for St. Mary's, and they'll be coached by Ratnam Jusmin. And we are just seconds away from kickoff here. Moragasmulla SC will be kicking things off in this mid-table clash.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've been waiting for. Let the countdown begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we are underway finally after all the photographs, and here's St. Mary's with possession. Early shirt pull there by the number 7 for Moragasmulla, Hansa Kalhar. That was it will be an early free kick for St. Mary's. They showed the antics in the previous game with a brilliant set piece goal. Morrison was the goal scorer from that set piece routine in the previous week. It was a well set up straight from the training grounds as St. Mary's confirmed their 3 points against the defending champions Mathura City in the previous week. And as I mentioned before, Moragasmulla SC will have to be very mindful defending these set pieces coming from St. Mary's. And here's St. Mary's building up from the back. Here's the skipper, Nitarsan, going long and finding his number 9. Brilliant strikers play. Here's an opportunity and the flag goes up quite early. It was a touch and go decision from the linesman.
Indeed, a bit too eager on that occasion, the St. Mary's number 10. But quite the harsh call, we could say, after that second whipping. It was quite the close one, but the referee was quite confident with that decision. It came quite quickly as well. The flag up. Could see St. Mary's with some good intentions of attack, Atif. And that will be an area of concern for the lads in white.
Definitely, that was a brilliantly timed Jerry Nason, but very unfortunate to be called offside on that occasion. Here's St. Mary's yet again driving through that midfield. Good work from the midfield, and this time good bit of work from the centre half for Moragasmulla. This is good signs, as you mentioned, from St. Mary's, trying to keep position and build up from the back. Here's Jerry Nason yet again with the lobbing ball to find his number 9. Here's Jerry Nason yet again, trying to drive through the defences, but this time the correct call from the referee. I mean, one could ask the question, is the referee positioned himself in the correct area, Rashwan?
Indeed, I think those are very, very big questions to be asked, but it's been a very competitive opening 4 minutes or so, we could say. I think these 90 minutes will be not disappointing, Atif. As you see, De Silva once again, he's been brilliant for this side. He's been the heart of the midfield, and now St. Mary's. A shot on target, but St. Mary's would have expected much more from that attacking player.
John Lavani, that was a brilliant save from Ayanta Shavind, continuing his good work from the previous weeks. Here's St. Mary's. Brilliant tackle. Had a bit of danger involved in that tackle, but Mohammad Shifan coming in good for Moragasmulla. Here's Naina Mohammed. Small stoppage in the game, as one of the Moragasmulla players has gone down, and he'll be needing a bit of medical attention.
Looks like a forced change for Moragasmulla. Straight away gone to the bench. Just 6 minutes gone by. Already technical area in work. So a forced change for Moragasmulla. Jersey number 14, Tariq Nila. Looks like he'll be coming on for Danushka Madhushankar, whose work for the night is done, and in quick time we could say, just 6.5 minutes. And Moragasmulla with a forced change.
Danushka Madhushankar is one of those vital players in the Moragasmulla midfield, but will be very unfortunate for Moragasmulla to lose a player of his caliber. Here's the skipper for St. Mary's, goes long. Very ambitious jump there by John Lavani, taking out his opposite number. Shamal Shamud taking the blow that time. There's Mohammad Shifan with a brilliant long ball. Safe piece of goalkeeping there by Anikan. Spreading the play, Anikan here. Beautiful pass from the outside of his boot, and takes the shot. Jerry Nason yet again.
Well and truly, St. Mary's knocking on the door. Try and break that deadlock. He had that option to put it to the middle as well. But opted to go on his own, but a valiant effort we could say. And surely St. Mary's with good early attacking play.
Good crowd gathering here at the Racecourse for this Monday night encounter. Moragasmulla taking on St. Mary's. Both the teams coming off from good wins last week. Here's St. Mary's. Danjuma Gambari on that right wing for St. Mary's has made some good runs with the ball, driving it forward and making couple of chances alongside with Jerry Nason. On the other hand, here's Jerry Nason. St. Mary's goes long. Mitharsan. Here's Gambari. And Gambari goes down as St. Mary's gets a free kick in their favour. Gambari making his debut for St. Mary's and has done pretty well so far. And Shavind making a mess out of it, but still the ball is in play and it goes for a corner.
First corner of the game coming St. Mary's way. So plenty of blue shirts will rush into that penalty area. But a very teasing ball as well. And the Shal He's quick on to his decision making with the gloves in hand. He's been brilliant for Moragasmulla Sports Club throughout this campaign as of now. Looks like not a corner kick. A long throw into the box. There are plenty of blue shirts in it. And almost catching off guard and off his lines.
Lavani tries to chip Ayanta Shavind over his head. But a chance gone begging again for St. Mary's. Positive signs of attack by St. Mary's in this opening 11 minutes or so. Brilliant ball retention from De Silva. Here's Atif Mohammed. Anikan clearing his lines with his Atif Mohammed. A wasted opportunity, I would say, for Moragasmulla and St. Mary's. Try and build up from the back. Here's Nitarsan. Meron. Here's the skipper. Jerry Nason. Not the most entertaining passages of play, but St. Mary's trying to knock on that door and find that deadlock breaking goal. They did have a couple of opportunities, but Ayanta Shavinta has managed to keep the clean sheet. As of yet, here's an opportunity for St. Mary's. P. Abhinesha hits it over the crossbar.
That's been the story for now. St. Mary's have really had some opportunities up front. But this time around, not being able to even hit the target. But a very interesting passage of play, as Atif mentioned. And St. Mary's opting to go with those long balls, which can be quite surprising with the backline Moragasmulla possess. But surely St. Mary's have studied this opponent well. Calm and composed in the back from skipper of St. Mary's. Once again building from the back. I like this. St. Mary's always looking to keep position.
Definitely. It's something not all the teams are looking to do, but this is good signs from St. Mary's, trying to keep the position and build up the play from back. From the back, most of the teams have opted to go for that long ball approach, Reshwan.
Indeed. Now once again we see those long throw-ins coming into the box with around plenty of blue shirts in the box, but Hansa Kalhara's header has cleared things out for Moragasmulla for the time being. It goes all the way back to the St. Mary's goalkeeper. And calm and composed stuff in the back once again for St. Mary's, with not much of attacking players rushing for Moragasmulla.
Indeed, the skipper lead in the defense line. Nitarsan in that number 8 jumper has done really well so far for St. Mary's, keeping the Moragasmulla attackers very quiet on the counter. And the Shavind taking his time. Shavind goes long, high and long here. But Moragasmulla United has not made an impression so far going forward. or a major threat. Here's Moragasmulla. St. Mary's winning back the ball. One-sided affair so far in these opening exchanges, but lot more football to be played here at the Racecourse in this mid-table clash. Metabo tries to find Jerinson in that left wing. Dilan Madhusanka. This is positive. This is good stuff from Moragasmulla. And rightly so. A huge round of applause from the Moragasmulla SC supporters. The best passage of play for Moragasmulla so far in this game. Jambari. And
one of the St. Mary's players down. Just number 17, Meron, getting back on his feet. Looks quite frustrated with his opposite number.
Here's another look at it. It was a slight hand on to Meron's face, and I mean it was too soft from Moragasmulla SC's point of view.
Referee Taranga Pushpakumara having a word with both set of players. Having a stern word with both the number 17s of each side.
Nitharsan. That was poor from Nitharsan. Here's the Moragasmulla. Madhusanka. Madhusanka gives it to Hatim. Hatim. Beautiful work by Hatim. Hatim crosses it in. Fails to find anyone in that far post. Here's an opportunity for Moragasmulla. Shoots it from distance. Here's Mohammad Hatim yet again. And Hatim goes down. And referee says nothing doing there. Here's St. Mary's clearing their lines. Good work from Lavani. Here's Lavani. Brilliant ball. St. Mary's with an opportunity. A great blocker coming in from Shifan. A much needed blocker from the skipper, Mohammad Shifan there.
Indeed, after all the good work done by St. Mary's, and even Moragasmulla were defending their lives, but they have lost possession, just meaninglessly clearing that play. So St. Mary's once again looking to build from the back, but opts to go with those long balls. I think that's been the talking point from the St. Mary's perspective. I think they have come out here to play those long diagonal balls, and this they're trying to find this Moragasmulla defensive line a bit off guard. Will be very interesting how things will adjust as we approach the remainder of this game. Almost into the halfway mark of this first half. Once again, though, Ayant Shavind alerted, and he comes out.
As you mentioned, Rishwan, St. Mary's have looked to build up their play from back, playing that possession-based football, but they have not been afraid to try those long balls as well. Try to catch the Moragasmulla defense off guard. On the other hand, Moragasmulla playing that low block has not put enough numbers in front in some of those chances they have created. Here's another look of that incident. Slight touch from Lavani, taking out Ayant Shavind there.
It's been quite the stop-start affair here, and I'm sure the fans out here at the racecourse and tuning in live will want to see more end-to-end football here.
Definitely, it's not been the case here at the racecourse in this final game of week number 4. Here's St. Mary's yet again. Lavani finding options. Beautiful through ball there. Equally well defended by Iresh Utpala there. Taking no chances. Putting the ball away for a corner. And this time, it'll be the first corner of the game, Rashwan.
Indeed, will be very interesting to see how the set piece work will be by St. Mary's. Easy. Well done by Ayant Shavind. He's really been one of those standout keepers in this opening few weeks of this Sri Lanka Football Champions League.
Definitely him and Serendib Lutfi, one of the goalkeepers to watch out in this brand new Champions League campaign. Here's St. Mary's, and meaningless tackle there by Hansa Kalhar, gifting a free kick in a dangerous position for St. Mary's. They've been good with their set pieces so far in this campaign, St. Mary's, and this will be a good opportunity to break the deadlock.
Indeed, a massive opportunity, probably from 30 yards out. Stepping up for St. Mary's is their skipper, Nitharsan, and Morrison, who runs over it. Nitharsan with a shot from range, but nothing done.
They were trying to do the same thing they did in the previous week. Mariason faking the run and making it to the box to score the goal, but this time they thought other ways, and a wasteful opportunity there for St. Mary's. Moragasmulla with their first set piece opportunity of the evening. First set piece opportunity in the opponent's half rather. A decent turn up here at the racecourse. And here's Moragasmulla SC with a good opportunity to break the deadlock. No much numbers inside the box for Moragasmulla SC. They are outnumbered by the St. Mary's defence. Not taking too many risks there.
Indeed, they probably have that fear of this St. Mary's attack catching them in that counter attack, because they have plenty of pace in their ranks. And that free kick goes in vain. And work for the ball boys out there.
I mean, the ball boys have been very busy this evening, Rashwan.
Indeed, Atif. Plenty of shots going astray. Another long diagonal ball there. But good on this Moragasmulla defense. They have been really up to it. They are playing for these long balls as well. And quite the brain-fed moment from Moragasmulla in that midfield. And he's conceded that free kick. And Hansa Kalhara can find himself quite lucky not to go into the books.
I mean, he's very lucky there not to be booked by Taranga Pushpakumar. It was a stud sub challenge there by Hansa Kalhara. Here's another dead ball opportunity for St. Mary's. Skipper Nitarsan. Here's Nitarsan with the floating delivery into the box. Safely defended there by the Moragasmulla defense. This time Anika opts to go long. We asked for end-to-end football, but not this kind of end-to-end football whatsoever. And Anikan will be going long yet again to find one of his men on the other half. Gambari has been put down there. Pleading for a yellow card there. And referee Pushpakumar has been very watchful here. Yet to show a yellow card for any of the players.
That patience might run out, Atif, because challenges have been coming left, right and centre, especially from the lads in white. So Mary Skipper whips that ball in. Plenty of white shirts in the back. Moragasmulla, even though things are still at a standstill in the scorecard, I think Moragasmulla are slightly the second best team here. It's been wave of attack after attack from St. Mary's. St. Mary's as well, they need to find their shooting boots, because not for long you can keep quiet this Moragasmulla outfit.
Meron. Optimistic effort from Metabo. As Lavani. Lavani chips it over. Here's Lavani yet again. Gambari. Gambari has options. Jerinson. And he crosses it. And almost an own goal there. Nirmala Daraj will call himself a very lucky man. Almost putting the ball into his own net there. Nirmala Daraj.
And didn't I tell you, Adif, that referee Taranga Pushpakumar's patience will run out. And a yellow card for Hansa Kallara from Moragasmulla. And just before this play, we did see that shot almost finding his own back of the net. Dhananjay, he'll be breathing a big sigh of relief. And a very interesting passage of play for the lads in white.
Definitely, that was a brilliant ball from Gambari. He had options. He had Jerinson with the overlap run, but he opted to go for that cross. And almost it paid off for St. Mary's. Good signs from the lads from Jaffna. Yes, Nitharsan yet again under the dead ball for St. Mary's. Here's another look at that opportunity. Brilliant cross in from Gambari. Dhananjay is a very lucky man. Here's Lavani catching himself in an offside position. Dhananjay. Again, wasteful from Moragasmulla. It seems like Moragasmulla SC doesn't want to keep the position, and they've been gifting the ball away very easily. Nice link-up play there from Moragasmulla. And yet again, the lack of quality is shown from the Moragasmulla SC midfield.
As we approach the final 10 minutes of this first half, St. Mary's have had the clear-cut opportunities to try and break the deadlock. Moragasmulla, on the other hand, have done the bulk of defensive work in this opening 36 minutes or so. It's been a stop-start affair. The medical staff have been really put into work. And surely Moragasmulla finding it quite hard, that physical appearance between the two sides. St. Mary's well and surely can find themselves on top of it.
I mean, Moragasmulla SC are one of those sides who has not fielded any foreign players in the outfit, and good to see them playing without any foreign players and using only local talent. And so far this campaign, they have done decently well. And here's Nimala Dhananjaya yet again with an old-fashioned goal kick, free kick rather, from the deep end of his own half. De Silva.
I think it's a matter of time when De Silva steps up for Moragasmulla. And a free kick being won by St. Mary's. An appeal by Moragasmulla, which quite often happens. But referee Tharanga Pushpakumara says his call is the final call, and he's the boss out there. Not much in it, but enough for referee Tharanga Pushpakumara to call it for a free kick. Now once again the skipper of St. Mary's, Nitharsan, has an opportunity to go at goal. Probably 25 yards out. Earlier round he couldn't get good advantage of that set piece. Second time asking, can he find the target at least? A four-man wall set. The fifth man joining in.
Nitharsan takes the shot and hits the post. A good hand from Ayanda Shavinda as well. Moragasmulla SC.
Well, it's one man who has really kept Moragasmulla in the game, and that's Ayanta Shavinda in goal. Once again, a brilliant effort to keep St. Mary's at bay. And isn't it wonderful to see a goalkeeper really stepping up and keeping his side in the game. St. Mary's now opting for a long throw-in. Once again, Shavind coming to the rescue. Earlier it was the woodwork, and then that rebound was saved by Ayanta Shavind. And he has really kept his side in the game. There you see, straight off the woodwork, and then the second time asking, Shavind gets a hand to it.
At the moment, Moragasmulla SC playing with 12 men. Here's St. Mary's with yet another corner, and this time it's an own goal. This has been coming for a long time, and finally St. Mary's breaks the deadlock in the 40th minute.
And it's the jersey number 12 of Moragasmulla who's the culprit, and he won't be a happy man. Shamal Shamud, he's fined his own back of the net, and Moragasmulla almost did concede an own goal around 10 minutes ago, courtesy Dhananjay, but this time Shamal is the culprit for the lads in white.
A richly deserved lead there for St. Mary's. And
but I think Adif, you got to feel for Ayanta Shavind in goal. He's really kept this Moragasmulla outfit.
All goals scored in favour of St. Mary's.
Definitely Ayanta Shavind will be kicking himself there, and will be a disappointed man. Here's an opportunity. Lavani takes a shot from range, but goes well actually wide of Ayanta Shavinda's goal there. And coming back to Ayanta Shavinda, he has been brilliant and kept Moragasmulla SC in the game for the opening 40 minutes, but courtesy of an own goal, has broken the deadlock for St. Mary's.
Indeed, you got a feel for Anand Shav in the move of Moragasmulla. I think if his teammates could do him a favor, he'll be asking, just go win it for him. He'll get the job done in the back. But that own goal caught him off guard as well. But now, nevertheless, he's come out once again. He's so alerted at all times. And that's a good trait. That's a very important trait of a good goalkeeper. And Anand Shavind has really showed good glimpses of his ability of taking that responsibility between the sticks. Can Moragasmulla have that one opportunity before going into the break to try and go into that second half? Even Stevens, but that looks quite far out because this St. Mary's defense have been quite not been tested in this opening 43 minutes or so, and especially the goalkeeper of St. Mary's. He hasn't been brought into action in some time.
Here's Moragasmulla with an opportunity. Crosses it in and shout is for a handball.
That's just a hopeful shout, I would say. But referee Taranga Pushpakumara says nothing in it. So it will be a corner nevertheless for Moragasmulla. The first corner of the game, they take it quickly. Tisara De Silva, rather Dhananjay Hansa Kalhara in the box. But the free kick going against Hansa Kalhara.
This is good. A late surge from Moragasmulla heading into the break. And this is what Reshwan mentioned before. Can they make a difference before the break?
Indeed, they will really need to try and get back into this. They'll need that equalizer quite soon, as we are almost at that half-time marker, but we have a bulk of minutes to be added on, but we had plenty of stoppages. Will be interesting to see how many minutes will be added on. Moragasmulla will have a close eye on that fourth official, whether they will have time to try and go and equalize things. And there you see, that's a confirmation. 6 minutes of added time for Moragasmulla to try and change their fortunes here. They love to go into the break with an equalizer, but as things stand, in pole position are St. Mary's with this throw-in to try and double their lead. Well, that was quite the line-out throw. And it was so messy that it managed to just come out with no problem for Moragasmulla. Moragasmulla now looking to try and equalize things. A man down on the field, one of the white shirts, and not what you want in added time, but the medics asked to come on. It's been a busy day out there for the medical staff of Moragasmulla.
Definitely, and Moragasmulla SC, this is not the first time they are trailing this campaign. The first game they were trailing going into the half-time against Pelicans, and they did manage to find that equalizer and go on and win an important point in that game, and this time onwards they are in the same position. So Moragasmulla has done it all this campaign, and we could expect an equalizer coming in from Moragasmulla SC. Looks like it's Hansa Kalhara who's down, taking a blow on his face. Not the most pleasant experience, having been hit on your face. But nevertheless, he's back on his feet, and the game will resume with St. Mary's with possession. Awful delivery into the box. And 2.5 minutes of added time to be played to conclude this first half on our clock. In the meantime, is another free kick coming in from St. Mary's. Collision of heads results a free kick in favor of Moragasmulla.
It's been a very stop-start affair, and that's what even added time has been about. Another long stoppage. Be a very interesting team talk coming up for either sides. St. Mary's will look to somehow close this game out. They've already have one goal in it. Moragasmulla looking to try and equalize the proceedings. We've seen St. Mary's opt for that long balls. Will they continue that in the second 45? Time will tell us. But for Moragasmulla, it will be a matter of how they adjust into this playing style of St. Mary's. So it will be a very interesting second 45 minutes coming up.
St. Mary's down the wing with space and numbers inside the box. Here comes the cross. Lavani gives it to Jerinson. Jerinson with an opportunity. Crosses. Kampari was there in the far post, but I had the Shavind yet again to rescue Moragasmulla. No nonsense defending there by the St. Mary's fullback. Brilliant control from Jerinson. Jerinson drives it through the wing. Crosses it to Lavani with a shot. Brilliant football all around from St. Mary's, and Ayanta Shavind at his very best there.
Indeed, he has really kept Moragasmulla in this game. And just at the brink of half time, he's made a massive save and kept Moragasmulla in the side as both teams heading to that half-time break. It's been a tale of St. Mary's attack against Ayant Shavind of Moragasmulla, who's really been brilliant between the sticks for the lads in white.
St. Mary's 1, Moragasmulla 0.
Plenty of work for Moragasmulla to try and come back into this. It will be quite the comeback if they are to, because St. Mary's look quite rock solid in the back. That's your half-time score confirmation. St. Mary's 1, Moragasmulla 0. And this has been the highlights of that first 45 minutes. Moragasmulla did get some decent attacking plays, but none was threatening. The St. Mary's attacks were really attacks that really knocked on the door. They had shots on target. Those long balls were really pivotal in this St. Mary's attack. And it was Moragasmulla was living dangerously in the back. There was a brilliant save, and then brilliant couple of saves we could say of for Ayant Shavind, who has really kept Moragasmulla in this contest. This was that unfortunate own goal for the lads in white, Moragasmulla Sports Club, which gave St. Mary's the first goal, courtesy the number 12 of Moragasmulla, Shamal Shamod, has really put Moragasmulla under a lot of pressure coming up in that second 45 minutes or so. Plenty to play for, as we will go into a quick commercial break and be back with the second half action on the other side of this final week 5 clash between St. Mary's and Moragasmulla Sports Club.
Champions League, एक हाथ गैस में हैंगुमान किक पे जावे नरमने भागी दुलाने भीदी दस्ते गोल एक गाना इसित सरसने समरोक वेने साथ देने. We are one game, one heart. One game, one heart, Champions League. This is where we start. Together we dream, together we fight. We are the champions. Under the light. Football under புதுமொழியே இரங்கள் மதங்கள் கடந்திடுமே ஒன்றாய் இணைந்து பயணித்தொன்றாய் எல்லைகள் தாண்டிடுவோம். The lights are shining, the crowd will roll. This is the moment we waited for. The passion's rising, the call is clear. The Champions League is finally one game, one heart, Champions League. This is where we start. Together we dream, together we fight. We are the champions. Under the light. We play for love, pride and pain. For every child who dreams again. No borders here, no fear, no end. Just one dream that we defend. மரங்கள் கிக்காகுமே களத்தில் உறுதியாய் மின்னவும் நாமே. Champions League வரவே உணர்வதற்கு தருமே. Cheer ek hai ke mak denne kholo set ek ma ek venne goal kick එක දෙන්නේ Champions League में ඇරමෙන්නේ One game, one heart Champions League සටනයි ඇරමෙන්නේ දිවි දෙන්නේ ජය ගන්නේ එක සිහිනට අපි යන්නේ One game, one heart Champions League where dreams take part Raise your flags, feel the art Football, one game, one heart Hey oh, one green, one star Hey oh, one game, one heart Champions League, forever we play The spirit of football leads the way
And we are back with the live action. St. Mary's leading Moragasmulla 1-0. And this final game of week 4. And as we speak, St. Mary's have opted for a half-time substitution. John Lawyers will be taking on the field, replacing P. Abhinesh. A like-to-like substitution from Ratnam Jasmine, the St. Mary's coach. And Moragasmulla SC, a lot to do in the second half. There will be need to be proactive in the second half in order to find that all-important equalizer in this mid-table clash. St. Mary's currently sitting on the 3rd place, while Moragasmulla in that 4th place in Group B. And we are underway in the second half. St. Mary's goes long, and Lavani finds Gambari. Good work from Lavani. Lavani crosses it in. And Shavind up to the task. Yet again, not even a minute gone in the second half. And Shavind straight away into the action. There's Gambari with options. Jerinson with the overlap. With a brilliant cross. Safely negotiated by the Moragasmulla defense. Good, brilliant press there by St. Mary's, and cheap giveaway from Gambari there. A lazy work from the new recruit for St. Mary's there. He was very influential in that goal scored by the St. Mary's. Yes, it was an own goal, but Gambari did ask plenty of questions through the wing in that first half for St. Mary's. He'll be looking to continue his good work in the second half as well. Positive start for St. Mary's in the second half. Have tested Ayanta Shavind once in this 1.5 minutes or so.
Indeed, Ayanta Shavind will have his work cut out if this St. Mary's attacks continue to follow. Moragasmulla really need to pull up their socks, literally, because if they are to try and at least get a point of this game, they'll need to score. Once again, Ayanta Shavind off his lines, comes out, punches it just for a time being, and a shot from range. Once again, could have done better to try and hold on to it, but it was a shot out of a lot of venom. But still, the attack is on for St. Mary's.
Gambari yet again testing the Moragasmulla defense. Referee is played in the medics to come out as soon as possible, as Nimala Dhananjay is suffering with lots of pain after that. After taking that blow into his chest, here's Gambari with that venomous strike.
Dhananjay going down straight away after that hit, and then that replacement player as well from Moragasmulla down in some discomfort, Tariq Nila. So plenty of work for the medics from Moragasmulla.
By the looks of it, Nimala Dhananjay has taken a blow on his throat. The ice pack has been placed on his throat, and Nimala Dhananjay is in lots of discomfort there.
Very physical game out there. And physically, I think St. Mary's edge this Moragasmulla outfit. Once again, Coach Abdul Naina Mohammed. We'll hope that he'll not be asked for a forced change. But as things stand, more tension on Dhananjay. Really took a blow onto his face. Shot out of a lot of venom. He'll really feel it tomorrow morning.
Definitely, Reshwan. It was a venomous strike from Gambari. And if St. Mary's do manage to hold on to this lead, they'll climb to the second place in Group B. Just behind Pelicans. They'll be having equal points with Pelicans, but that goal difference, Pelicans with a greater goal difference will take the top spot if things stands as it is for St. Mary's. And with the stop after the stoppage, with Nimala Dhananjay back on his feet, the play resumes with Moragasmulla with a free kick in their favour. Here's Madhusanka yet again gifting away the ball. Brilliant through ball. Here's Lavani with a shot, and this time scuffing it. Wasted opportunity, I would say, there by Lavani. Had plenty of space and plenty of time to hit the target and test Ayant Shavind there. Enterprising start for St. Mary's in the second half. Not even 7 minutes gone by, but plenty of chances created by St. Mary's, courtesy Lavani and Gambari, the international stars for St. Mary's. Nimala Dhananjay yet again will try to go long, as he does very well defended by Nitarsad, the skipper. Here's De Silva, one of the fan favourites, Thisara De Silva.
Indeed, he really needs to step up for Moragasmulla in the middle of the park. I think his brilliance really helped Moragasmulla get that win against Sri Lanka Police as well. He's been quite silent in these 52 minutes or so.
Definitely, I think it's something to do with the style of play Moragasmulla has opted to go with today. And here's Gambari down the wing, crosses it in, and lands in no man's land there. And Gambari catches himself in an offside position. An easy decision for the linesman. Brilliant work from Gambari. Brilliant cross. A bit too much there. Jerinson was making the run from the far post. And St. Mary's yet again a wasteful opportunity gone begging for Moragasmulla.
Indeed, intentions were right, but the execution was not so good. Once again now De Silva. He's been in the pick of things in the last few minutes, but once again losing position. I think that he's really lost a lot of confidence. Surely coming into this game he would have come with plenty after beating Sri Lanka Police. But Moragasmulla can still find themselves in it to at least take a point away. And as things stand out, if I think Moragasmulla would be really happy with the point.
Morrison with a good cross, but nothing doing for St. Mary's. Again, ball crossed in, safely negotiated by Moragasmulla, and they have done pretty well to maintain that high line of defense. De Silva not afraid to play that one-touch football. Here's Moragasmulla. Labani winning that physical battle against Shamal Ahmad. Yet again, good presence of mind by the midfielders of St. Mary's. Here's Gambari. Gambari looking for options. Meron, and goes for the shot. Good hit, but goes wide off. And the Shavinder's goal. De Silva. Here's Nilar. Lavani with dancing feet manages to keep possession. Here's St. Mary's. Tantalizing delivery to the box. Yet again, safely negotiated. Here's Mohammad Katim. Not the best of corners taken by Katim there.
And exactly the factor of momentum coming into play after that brief injury break. I think that momentum was all gone away for Moragasmulla, which led to a very meaningless corner kick. Good clearance from St. Mary's keeper. Well and surely fighting for possession now Moragasmulla, but winning it is St. Mary's. A through ball being played, but regulation work for Ant Shavinder. As we approach the hour mark, it's been very interesting to see how Moragasmulla have come out in this second half. Backs against the wall, against a very quality St. Mary's outfit. They looked quite far out from their opponents. But Moragasmulla can find themselves still in this contest. Long throw-in to follow. St. Mary's have always opted for those long throw-ins. This time Hansa Kalhara's header goes for a corner kick.
John Loyas, the substitute for St. Mary's, with the corner. Goes very wide, Loyas there. But brilliant control from Gambari. And yet another corner for St. Mary's. Brilliant work there by Gambari to keep hold on to the ball. Not the best of corners that was from John Loyas. But nevertheless, here's St. Mary's. Back-to-back corners for them. Jerinson this time. Much better corner from Jerinson. Gambari comes through the far post. And Lavani double their lead. Brilliant set piece work there by St. Mary's. Brilliant from Jerinson. Brilliant from the attack. And Lavani scores his second this campaign.
Indeed, that was well and surely coming for St. Mary's. How things have spanned out in this game. A brilliant corner kick, brilliant set piece work, straight off the training grounds, we could say. And St. Mary's have doubled their lead just like that, and will take a 2-goal cushion in the final 30 minutes of play.
This is set piece brilliance from St. Mary's. We saw that in the previous week, and yet again here in week number 4, St. Mary's with their set piece brilliance. John Lavani in the score sheet for the second time for St. Mary's. Now it's a huge mountain to climb for Moragasmulla. Hansa Kalhar gives it to De Silva. De Silva finds Hati Muhammad. Here's Kalhar. Gives away the ball very cheaply, and mind you, he's on a yellow card, Hansa Kalhar. And will be very fortunate to walk away with that tackle. Hansa Kalhar giving away the ball and giving away a cheap free kick there. Not the best of days for Hansa Kalhar on the field. You expect more from your experienced players. Netharson with a decent ball into the box. Safely dealt with. Netharson goes long. Here's a Lavi, and what a strike that is! John Lavani. Take about John Lavani. That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant from John Lavani.
Speechless. And what a screamer, you could say. And just like that, John Lavani has doubled his tally here tonight. And that could be the game. And what a finish. Ayanda Shavin having such a good day, just couldn't keep that out. And I think he could be excused. That was such a good shot. And if any young footballer is watching, that's how you finish. Brilliant from John Lavani. St. Mary's now 3-0 up and will take all 3 points back home.
With St. Mary's game to lose from here on. That was one hell of a finish from John Lavani. Brilliant off-ball pressing. Here's St. Mary's yet again. And Lavani goes down and wins a free kick. And it's a yellow card shown for the number 4 of Moragasmulla. It's the skipper, Mohammad Shifan.
Moragasmulla now will just look to play this final 24 minutes or so. Just it's been really tough for them. They were really in it around that 55th minute. They had some opportunities coming their way, but now you could find themselves down and out. A 3-goal cushion for St. Mary's. And if they had to come back into this, that will be quite the miracle out here.
Definitely, and that was very unnecessary from the skipper, Mohammad Shifan. Here's Nitersan. Ball floated in.
Be interesting to see Moragasmulla how they finish this game off, because things haven't been quite haven't been quite easy for them. They have had passages of play where they have showed some good attacking proves, but that hasn't been the case here. And once again dealt well by the St. Mary's defense, as Moragasmulla going to their bench and bringing on some fresh legs. Iresh Utpala makes way for Pubudu Sakulada. Pubudu Sakulada, one of the goal scorers for Moragasmulla against Pelicans in that week number 1.
Iresh Utpal is replaced by judge number 11, Pubudu Sakulada.
Moragasmulla will be searching for a consolation goal to try and deny a clean sheet for St. Mary's. But as things stand, getting a goal here will be quite tough for Moragasmulla, as St. Mary's defense look quite intact. And once again, almost, he was off his lines, Ayanta Shavind, but luckily Johan Lavani, searching for his hat-trick, didn't get the better part of the laces onto that ball.
And in the process, St. Mary's have won yet another corner. And they will take all the time in the world to take this set piece. Here's Jerinson. Hope to do the same what he did just a few minutes ago. Jerinson yet again with a decent delivery into the box. Here's an opportunity, and just the ball flies over the crossbar. It's John Loyas this time. He had it on his plate, but just whiskers away. Hansa Kalhar, not the best pieces of defending there. All of a sudden, Moragasmulla are looking shambles in defense. By the looks of it, Anta Shavinda is in lots of pain. Probably a cramp. If he is stretched off the field, it will be things going bad to worse for Moragasmulla SC.
Indeed, it's been a tough 15 minutes or so for Moragasmulla. Last thing they would want is to for their goalkeeper to go off injured. And Tashavind, he's really kept Moragasmulla in the game for longer period of this played 71 minutes. But there's a limit he can do as well. But St. Mary's have been quite clinical up front. Those two finishers from John Lavani rather, has really put Moragasmulla out of reach here in Colombo, and looking to take all 3 points and a valuable clean sheet for St. Mary's here.
The Moragasmulla SC yet again very clumsy with possession. Here's St. Mary's with an opportunity, but takes a deflection, and it's yet another corner. Favor of St. Mary's. Plenty of numbers for St. Mary's inside the box, and the shout is from the coach. His orders are Jerinson to take the corner for St. Mary's. He's been brilliant with his set piece duties, Jerinson. Here's Jerinson yet again. Yet another decent ball into the box. This time Hansa Kalhara deals with it quite comfortably, but Hatim Muhammad chips it over, but nothing doing for Moragasmulla SC. Anikan goes long, not the best of defensive work. Here's Jerinson. Jerinson with the cross in. Good work from St. Mary's, trying to keep the possession of the ball. Metobo, Mathivadanan.
Around 15 minutes left of regular time here. Moragasmulla will really want to get out of this misery. And well, that pretty much sums up the day for Moragasmulla. And the celebration matching that goal as well, that calm and composed finish. Courtesy.
It's St. Mary's who go 4 goals up. It's St. Mary's who go 4 goals up here. And it will be well and surely 3 points for St. Mary's. They will climb up in that points table as well.
Jersey number 5, Mohammad Khatib, is replaced by jersey number 2, ThePapare.
In the meantime, there was a couple of substitutions for Moragasmulla SC.
They're just going through the phases. Moragasmulla. They know they are down and out here. They know they have suffered a big defeat here in the expense of a comprehensive win for St. Mary's.
And as things stand, St. Mary's are at the top of Group B, surpassing Pelicans' goal difference. And Coach Ratnam Jasmine will be a one happy campaigner. A richly deserved 4-goal lead here for St. Mary's. They have outplayed Moragasmulla SC in all the departments. Just over 10 minutes to go here at the racecourse, as skipper Nitarsan is set to take yet another free kick for St. Mary's. And Shavinder with medical attention, not for the first time in the second half. He's clearly struggling out there, and Shavinder. Had a brilliant first half, and the second half has not gone as planned for and the Shavind, and nothing to take away from the man on your screen. Okay, Metobo has been brilliant for St. Mary's in the defense. Here's Nitarsan yet again. Lavani. Rare mistake from Maris, and there slight lapse of concentration there. De Silva. Beautiful piece of work. Here's St. Mary's. Cross comes in. An opportunity. Lavani had too much to do there, and puts it over the crossbar. Brilliant from the left back there for St. Mary's. And Lavani had the opportunity to make a hat-trick there. Mathivadanan on your screen there with a decent performance. And Ratnam Jasmine will be very pleased with his men today. And referee Taranga Pushpakumara has signalled a substitution. This time it's for St. Mary's. Jerinson, after a brilliant shift today, is making way. For Sebastianul. A huge round of applause for Jerinson. A richly deserved round of applause for the winger. Here's Jerinson. A superb display, a superb shift. And Madhivadanan will be making way for Jude Dilaxon. A defensive substitution for St. Mary's. It's just a matter of holding on to this clean sheet for St. Mary's.
Jersey number 10, J. Jerinson, is replaced by jersey number 19, Sebastiano.
Moragasmulla are going through their emotions. Just going through their emotions right now. No conviction at all from the Moragasmulla outfit. Tisara De Silva with the diagonal ball finds Muhammad Kasim, Hatim Muhammad rather. Still St. Mary's showing that hunger, pressing harder. Here's St. Mary's yet again. This is a really good work from St. Mary's. Lavani. Ruben Raj finds one of the substitutes. Here's Gambari. Superb debut for Gambari in St. Mary's Blues for Gambari. Here's Gambari. Will go for the hit. Gambari yet again with his dancing feet. Gambari goes down, but the referee says nothing doing, and still St. Mary's. This is poor football from Moragasmulla. Ball comes in. Lavani made the run in that far post. Still Moragasmulla haven't found their feet, and it's almost we're headed to the end of the game. This was Gambari going down just few seconds ago. And Shavinder really struggling here. Hardly on his feet, and Shavinder.
Indeed, the scoreline doesn't do justice to him. He really made some brilliant saves. He was quite on alert, but all his hard work may go in vain. He's conceded 4 goals, but 4 top quality goals, you could say. And as we speak, as we praise him, I think he's struggling.
He's really.
And the Shavinder gets back on his feet. Moragasmulla out of substitutions, and I think A big round of applause, rather big appreciation for Ayant Shavind, who continues to stay on, and probably on just one leg, we could say. And once again, he just really comes off his lines, hovering away. And a mammoth effort from the young man.
Here's and Shavind. Tested again. Brilliant from St. Mary's. Still showing that urgency. St. Mary's pressing hard and hard as the time progresses. And here's the final substitution for St. Mary's. T. Kitterson makes his way, replacing Jane Sunesan Merod. Again, a great shift from Jane Sunesan Merod. He'll probably go under the radar, but a brilliant game for Jane Sunesan Merod. Made some important passes, important line-breaking passes throughout the game. Jane Sunesan Merod and important runs behind the defense of Moragasmulla SC. Here's Kati Muhammad. It's been the story of the day for Moragasmulla. Here's the substitute for St. Mary's.
Four minutes of added time to take this game for St. Mary's, and all 3 points. The trip back home will be quite the joyful one for St. Mary's, and securing that clean sheet as well. But Moragasmulla had that opportunity to spoil the party in somewhat way if they are able to find the back of the net.
And ball gifted away yet again. A very underwhelming performance from the lads from Moragasmulla. Just under 3 minutes to go in this final game of week 4. It's been quite an eventful week here in the Sri Lanka Football Champions League. Here's Gambari pleading for a free kick as we approach 9 full time. The heavens have opened up in Colombo.
With around a couple of minutes left of added time, and as Atif mentioned, the rains continue to come down steadily, and a good time for the rain to come as well at the brink of full time, because we had some brilliant conditions for a good game of football, and I think St. Mary's were the side who really took conditions into play and really took that into their advantage and played really well. The final substitution for St. Mary's, Anton Charles comes off for Morrison, as Around a minute and 15 seconds left of added time. We have seen a flourish of goals this evening. The game prior to this, Java Lane Sports Club beat SLTB 5-0. And then later on in the night, St. Mary's getting the better of and beating Moragasmulla quite convincingly. 4-0. I think that will be it here.
We got to a slow start. 2 games with just 1-goal wins. And as we are heading to the final passages of play here in week 4. And just seconds to go on our clock, and this will most probably be the last play of the game as a Metabo. And that's it. That's full time here at the Racecourse International Stadium. St. Mary's with all 3 points, and they climb on. They go to the top of the table in Group B.
Indeed, a convincing win for St. Mary's. They take all 3 points, and the trip back home will be quite a joyful one. That clean sheet secured as well here, and brilliant from St. Mary's, led by Nitharsan. The team from Jaffna can be quite delightful, but for Moragasmulla Sports Club, it's a matter of going back into the drawing books and coming back well in week number 5 to follow.
Definitely a very underwhelming performance by the Moragasmulla outfit here. Was riding high after that victory against Sri Lanka Police in the previous week, but this was not their best performance at all.
And a very richly deserved Man of the Match award for John Lavani as well of St. Mary's. As you take a look at the full-time score confirmation, St. Mary's 4, Moragasmulla Sports Club 0.
Rightly said, Reshwan. A richly deserved player of the match performance with a brilliant performance here tonight by John Lavani, scoring those 2 important goals. Here's one of them, a brilliant strike, just one touch and bang, back into the net of the Shavinders. This will make those highlight reels for sure. And annihilated St. Mary's bench. Opportunities were mounting in, and this was the final goal scored by Gambari, putting the game into bed. And what a celebration that was from Gambari.
Indeed, that celebration does match the performance of St. Mary's Sports Club. It's been a very thrilling action in this week number 4 of the Sri Lanka Football Champions League. It all started with that fierce battle between Pelicans and Police, as you take a look at the results. And then later on Saturday night, it was Serendip Sports Club who registered a win over Negombo Youth. And then on Sunday yesterday, it was New Star who absolutely thrashed Crystal Palace 6-0. And then Mathare City Club out of nowhere came from behind to beat Super Sun Sports Club 2-1. And then today, goals did come in a bag full of goals here. But it was quite a one-sided the couple of games this evening. Javelin beating SLTB Sports Club 5-0 and handing them yet another big defeat. And then St. Mary's registering yet another win over Moragasmulla and winning it quite convincingly, 4-0. I think the match of this week would have been that game between Madras City and Supersun Sports Club, as Madras City club had to come from behind to register that win, and quite a memorable one for them as they beat Supersun Sports Club 2-1. We have Navod Vijay Vikrama with an interview down there. Over to you, Navod.
අපත් සමග එකතු වෙනවා සෙන්ට් මේරිස් කණ්ඩායමේ ප්‍රධාන පුහුණුකාර රත්මන් ජස්මින් අද තරඟේ ජයග්‍රහණයත් සමග සෙන්ට් මේරිස් කණ්ඩායම ගෲප් එකේ টොප් වෙනවා. පටන් ගත්තු විදිහත් එක්ක බලද්දී අන්තිම තරඟ දෙක ජයග්‍රහණය කරලා ඉන්නේ සෙන්ට් මේරිස්. ඉතින් මොකද අද තරඟේ ගැන හිතන්නේ?
එතටම මේ ඔපොනන්ට් ගැන කියන්න ඕන මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ හොඳ කණ්ඩායමක්. නමුත් මම දැක්කේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මේ ෆිසිකල් එබිලිටි තමයි. ඒ නිසා අපි ටිකක් යම්කිසි දෙයක් පෙමාර්ක යොදාගත්තා මේ කීප් බෝල් පොසිෂන් and ඒ වගේ මම කලින්වත් කිව්වා. So next match we are trying to more score because our foreign players just then the campaign with other players and that's the reason. And then every place හොඳටම සෙල්ලම් කරා. හැමෝම හොඳටම සෙල්ලම් කරා. Especially captain, goalkeepers and everyone is good. So that's a win. Thank you.
Okay. දැන් තරඟ තුනක් ප්ලේ කරලා තියෙනවා. තරඟ තුනේම ක්ලීන් ෂීට්ස් තුනක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඩිෆෙන්ස් එක ගෝලයක්වත් දීලා නැහැ. ඩිෆෙන්ස් එක හොඳට තියෙනවා. තව මොන හරි ඉම්ප්‍රූව් වෙන්න තියෙනවාද ඩිෆෙන්සිව් වයිස්? මොකද දැන් ඉස්සරහට යද්දි තව තරඟ තුනක් තියෙනවා කණ්ඩායමක් වශයෙන් ගෲප් ස්ටේජ් එක ඉවර වෙන්න. ඉතින් මොන වගේ දේවල්ද සෙන්ට් මේරිස් කන ටිකින් ටික ඉම්ප්‍රූව් වෙලා තියෙනවා. ෆස්ට් මැච් එකටත් එක්ක ඔයාලත් පේනවා ඇති. ඉතින් මොන වගේ දේවල්ද තව ඉම්ප්‍රූව් වෙන්න ඕනේ කණ්ඩායමක් වශයෙන්?
Yeah, firstly අපේ ඩිෆෙන්සිව් නම් ටිකක් හොඳයි. මොකද ඩිෆෙන්ස් ප්ලේයර්ස් මේ අපිට ඉන්න 6 දෙනාම මම දකින්න විදිහට හොඳටම නිසා අපිට බය නැතුව සෙල්ලම් කරා. නමුත් අපි අර ෆස්ට් මැච් එක මේ රූඩ්රියා ගැන ටිකක් පොඩි අවිශ්වාසයක් තියෙනවා. නමුත් එයා හොඳට කොන්ෆිඩන්ට් ප්ලේයර් ඇටේකින් සෙන්ටර් බෑක්. ඒ නිසා අපිට වැඩි වාසියක් ලැබුණා. ඒ වගේ මේ අපිට යූස් කරගන්න පුළුවන් තවත් ක්‍රමවේද දෙක තුනක්. මොකද අපේ ස්ට්‍රයිකර්ස්ලා වුණත් ඒගොල්ලෝ හොඳ බෝල් හෝමාර් කරන ප්ලේස්ලා. ඒ නිසා අපිට ඒ ඕන ටීම් එකට අපි try කරන්න උත්සාහ දරනවා. මොකද අපි ප්ලේස්ලා හොඳයි. ස්පෙෂලි අපි ලෝකල් ප්ලේස්ලා මේ මම හිතන විදිහට ගොඩක් ඉම්ප්‍රූව්. දැන් අපිට බෙන්ච් එකේ ඉන්න ප්ලේයර් වුණත් මම නම් බය නැතුව පුළුවන් කියලා හිතනවා ඒගොල්ලෝ හොඳට සෙල්ලම් කරයි කියලා. ඒ නිසා අපිට ටෆ් තමයි සෙකන්ඩ් රවුන්ඩ්. අපි ගොඩාක් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා සෙකන්ඩ් රවුන්ඩ් මැචස් වල හරි පරිස්සමෙන් සෙල්ලම් කරගන්න. ෆස්ට් රවුන්ඩ් මැච් එක කොහොම හරි අපි තව මැච් එකක් දාගත්තා නම් අපි සෙකන්ඩ් රවුන්ඩ් එකට යන්න පුළුවන් කියලා හිතනවා. නමුත් ඉදිරි තරඟේ ලේසි නෑ. සුපර්සන් ඊයේ දැක්කනේ හොඳ මැච් එකක් දුන්නා. ඒ වගේ පොලිස් කණ්ඩායම පෙලිකන් ස්පෙෂලි good. So ඒ නිසා අපි හරි පරිස්සමෙන් හරි ඉතා ප්ලේස්ලා උනන්දු කරලා සෙල්ලම් කරන්න තමයි මගේ බලාපොරොත්තුව තියෙන්නේ.
Thank you coach and all the best.
Thank you very much.
Well, a very happy head coach of St. Mary's Sports Club, Ratnam Jusmin, will be elated that his charges led them to a very convincing win here under the lights here at Racecourse on Monday night. It will be a matter of how they continue this form in the next few weeks, as we have Navod Vijay Vikrama once again with yet another interview down there.
We are joined by the player of the match for today's game, St. Mary's, as jersey number 26, John Lavani. John, first of all, congratulations on being named player of the match, as well as scoring 2 goals plus the win as well. What do you think about your performance today?
Yeah, I want to say thanks to my team players, my coach, my management. The efforts we went in training, the performance in training give us the good results. At least what we did in training, we show it inside the pitch of the match. That is what's most important. We learn from the coach, we practice it on the match. That is it. Performance was so wonderful. Thank God. We give God the glory.
Thank you and all the best for the next few games.
Yeah, thank you very much. From next match game, we'll do more better. Yes.
Well, fitting performance from the St. Mary's attacker John Lavani with two breathtaking goals. We could say that second one of his will be one of the contenders for goal of the week, we could say, as he really stamped his authority against the Moragasmulla Sports Club. As we have one final interview down there, as now with Vijay Vikram, over to you.
මොරගස්මුල්ල කණ්ඩායමේ කළමනාකරු තිසල් හේවගේ අප සමග එකතු වෙනවා. තිසල් පෙර තරඟේ පොලිස් ප්‍රබල පොලිස් කණ්ඩායමත් සමග ජයග්‍රහණය කරලා ඉන්නේ 1.0ක් වශයෙන්. අද තරඟයේදී මොන වගේ සූදානමක්ද තිබ්බේ? ඒ වගේම මොනවද වෙච්ච අතුපසුවීම්?
ඔව් ඇත්තටම අපි කලින් තරඟේ පෙර තරඟේ අපි පොලිස් කණ්ඩායමට ප්‍රබල තරඟයක් දුන්නා. ඇත්තටම අපි ඒක හිතුවටත් වැඩිය හොඳට අපි මැච් එක කරා. පොලිස් මැච් එක අපි හිතුවටත් වැඩිය හොඳට අපි කරා. අපි ඒ මොරාල් එකෙන් අපි මේ මැච් එක කරන්න ආවේ. ඒ වගේම අපේ මැච් එකේදී ගොඩක් ප්ලේයර්ස්ලා අපේ කී ප්ලේයර්ස්ලා කීප දෙනෙක් ඉන්ජර්ඩ් වුණා. අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ව දාලා ෆස්ට් 11 try කරා. හැබැයි අපිට මිනිත්තු කීපයක් ඇතුළත ඒ ප්ලේයර්ස්ලා ටික චේන්ජ් කරගන්න වුණා. ඒකත් එක්ක අපිට පොඩ්ඩක් ටීම් එකට එන ප්‍රෙෂර් එක, මොකද සෙන්ට් මේරිස් කියන්නේ හොඳ ප්‍රබල කණ්ඩායමක්. අපි දන්නා ඒගොල්ලත් එක්ක ලොකු ෆයිට් එකක් තියෙනවා අපේ මේ මැච් එක. ඒකත් එක්ක අපිට ලොකු ගේම් එකේ ලොකු ස්ට්‍රෙන්ත් එකක් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ අපිට ආවා. ඒක නිසා අපිට ටිකක් ඒ වේට් එක ගන්න අමාරු වුණා. ඒකත් එක්ක තමයි අපිට ගෝල්ස් ටික ආවේ. අපි 2-0 එළියට එනකොට ෆස්ට් හාෆ් එකේ 1-0 එළියට එනකොට අපි විනාඩි 40ක විතර තමයි 40 තමයි ෆස්ට් ගෝල් එක ඒගොල්ලෝ ස්කෝර් කරන්නේ. ඇත්තටම අපි තව එකක් ගහලා ඉවරලා සෙකන්ඩ් හාෆ් එකේ කම්බැක් එකක් දෙන්න තමයි හිතුවේ. ඒකත් එක්කම අපේ චේන්ජස් ටිකත් එක්ක පොඩ්ඩක් ප්ලේයර්ස්ලාගේ තිබ්බ ඒ වෙලාවට ප්ලේයර්ස්ලා ගොඩක් මහන්සිලා. ඒකත් එක්ක අපිට ඇත්තටම ඒ ටික කරගන්න අමාරු වුණා ඇත්තටම මේ වෙලාවේ.
තරඟේ පරාජය වුණත් තාමත් සුපර් 8 වටේට යෑමට කණ්ඩායමට හැකියාව තිබෙනවා. තව මැචස් කීපයක් තියෙනවා. I think මොන වගේ දේවල්ද ඉදිරියේදී බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ?
ඇත්තටම ඉදිරියේදී අපි ගොඩක් හොඳ අපි ඇත්තටම මේ වෙනකොටත් අපි හොඳට ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරලා තියෙනවා. හැම මැච් එකකටම හොඳටම මුණ දෙන්න අපි ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරනවා. අපි ඒක කොහොමත් කරන දෙයක්. ඉතින් ඉදිරි තරඟ වලටත් අපි උපරිම ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරලා ඉවරලා මැච් වලට මුණ දෙන්න අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. මොකද අපේ ඉන්ජරිස් තියෙන ප්ලේයර්ස්ලා අපිට අපි දැන් 10 වෙනිදා අපි ඊළඟ මැච් එකේ තියෙන සොලිඩ් එක තරඟේ අපි ඒකට ප්ලෑන් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. අපි ඒ ප්ලේයර්ස්ලා ටික රිකවර් කරගෙන අපි ඊළඟ මැච් එකට ෆේස් කරන්න මීටත් වැඩි හොඳට අපි සූදානම් වෙලා අනිවාර්යෙන් වෙනවා.
බොහොම ස්තුතියි තිසල්. ඉදිරි තරඟවල සුබවතන්.
බොහොම ස්තුතියි.
Well, that's about it here at the Sri Lanka Football Champions League. And it's been quite competitive out here as we move on to week number 5, as we have exciting games lined up. As on the 9th of January on Friday, we have Crystal Palace taking on SLTB, two teams who suffered big losses this week, as they will take on each other to start off week 5. And then on Friday night, Saunders Sports Club will take on New Star. And then the action moves on to Saturday, as Javelin Sports Club will take on Negombo Youth. And then Solid Sports Club will take on Moragasmulla under the lights here at the Racecourse. And then on Sunday, to wrap up week number 5, we have St. Mary's Sports Club taking on Super Sun Sports Club. And to wrap things up for week number 5, we have Madrid City taking on Pelicans Sports Club. So some mouth-watering clashes await us in week number 5. So until then, it's goodbye from all of us here from the Colombo Racecourse.